Hello, everyone. Russia hit Chernobyl nuclear fuel site with the drones, and it was intentional. I spoke about Chernobyl a lot. I spoke about Zaporizhia nuclear power station a lot, about the safety concerns and so on and so forth. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that this was intentional. No doubt. The strike had inflicted significant damaging on the fuel reception building meters, and there is a concern considering that there was a lot of nuclear material stored there. So yeah, International Atomic Energy Agency should be yelling to high heaven, and so should everyone else. Again, those of us who are old enough to remember Chernobyl, the incident that took place in April of 1986, we remember what that was like. And that was when a lot of people in a lot of countries learned that nuclear fallout doesn't care about the map. It cares about air currents. It cares about wind strength. So just because it's happening somewhere in Ukraine doesn't mean you're not going to get any. And Russia did this, again, intentionally, as an act of intimidation. But what they're forgetting is, depending on which way the wind is blowing, they're going to get some too. And their BFFs in Belarus could get some as well. Because that is what happened during the original Chernobyl incident. So everybody should be talking about this. And everybody should think what they want to do about this. Meanwhile, Ukraine continued to do what they know to do best. Hitting Russia where it hurts. So shelling continues against military objects in St. Petersburg. Again, a huge humiliation to Putin, not only because his economic summit was going on there, but also because that's his hometown. There was a big fire at an oil depot. That's the now famous photographs of the big plumes of smoke. And there were additional targets. And my question is, what are we supposed to do? I know people are going to criticize Ukraine. There will be some who criticize Ukraine, particularly because it is true. St. Petersburg is a historic city. St. Petersburg, when I was growing up, St. Petersburg used to be one of my favorite places in the world. It was like magic. It was like walking through history. I loved it. I've been multiple times, been all over it, just walking and walking and walking. I used to love it. And then it became the seat of Russian mafia. And of course, it is also the hometown of one of the most dangerous men in the world, Putin. And yes, it would be terrible if any of the historic sites were to be damaged as a result of this. But considering what Russia has been doing to Ukraine's historic sites, I don't see what other options there are. So what they're saying now, and this confirms what I mentioned yesterday. So, first of all, there were lots of drones, not just toward St. Petersburg, but Bryansk, Kaluga, Kursk. That's Bryansk and Kursk should be familiar names to you. Those are the border cities, border regions. Novgorod, Oryol, Pskov, Rostov, Ryazan, Smolensk, Tver, Tula, Moscow, Crimea, Abkhazia. Abkhazia is a long ways away. And over the Azov and the Black Sea. And one of the messages I saw on Telegram from some of the Russian users saying, what the fuck? Are those Ukrainians just like printing the drones? That's notes from the ground. When it comes to specifically St. Petersburg attack, they were targeting the Kronstadt naval base, military object, as well as the Russian Navy arsenal, also a valid military object. And again, people of Russia, I said this many times, and I'm going to continue saying this. Get rid of your psycho in the Kremlin. Leave. Get out of Ukraine forever. Nobody wants you there. Leave. Never come back. And this all stops. You can sort out your own mess in your own time. Just leave. That's all anybody wants. Meanwhile, of course, Russia is doing what? Continuing to target Ukrainian civilians and nuclear storage sites. I spoke with my parents, and yeah, my native Zaporizhia region has been under attack pretty much nonstop. They haven't slept in like 3 days at this point. Because the moment one series of alerts ends, another one begins like 5 minutes later. So that has been just nonstop. And Russia also attacked 2 civilian search and rescue vessels in Ukrainian waters, causing injuries. And again, this goes hand in hand with Russia's overall attack on Ukraine's utility workers, rescue workers, EMTs, etc., etc. No surprise there. Starmer, Zelensky, Macron, and Merz are meeting in London, talking about what to do next. And again, this has been like a fairly consistent coalition, and Ukraine has military equipment and weapons production and research collaborations with all of them at this time. And again, the question everybody needs to think about is, considering Moscow is rejecting any idea of the face-to-face talks, any type of negotiations, that the only acceptable version that Putin said he wants is the surrender of Ukraine. The question is, are they gonna break with NATO on this? Not leave NATO, but basically, are they going to consider sending their own troops separately from NATO as their own countries, which they can, by the way. Of course, there were statements from Russian lawmakers, from Putin, from his sycophant Medvedev, saying, if anybody dares to help Ukraine, especially if troops were involved, they would bomb everybody all to shit. And yet, the photo of the week continues to be this. Plumes of smoke from Ukrainian drone strikes over St. Petersburg. More to come.